I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week. My partner, Kristen Oaks-White, is working behind the scenes this week. We begin with great news for everyone who loves to eat crawfish. This week, the United States Department of Agriculture added crawfish to the list of crops and livestock covered under the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program. According to research conducted by the LSU Ag Center and Louisiana Farm Bureau, the men and women who raise and catch crawfish for all of us suffered a price loss of 81 cents per pound between January 15th and April 15th of this year. That's a 33% drop in price. Louisiana Farm Bureau National Affairs Coordinator Andy Brown says under CFAP, applicants would receive 65 cents per pound for crawfish sold between January 15th and April 15th and 5 cents per pound for crawfish that was not sold. Brown says USDA still has to work out how they're going to determine how many crawfish were in a pond on April 15th. Louisiana 5th District Congressman Ralph Abraham, who sits on the House Ag Committee, spoke with us by phone. He says getting crawfish included in CFAP was a team effort.
I couldn't have done it. The delegation couldn't have done it without the Louisiana Farm Bureau. Certainly great help from the LSU Ag Center. So it was a combined joint effort by a lot of entities that came together for a common goal and a common cause that we in Louisiana and throughout the South know and love, and that's our crawfish people.
All members of Louisiana's congressional delegation signed the letters urging USDA to add crawfish for assistance. Farmers and ranchers now have until September 11th to apply for that assistance. This fall, a new project to make the Mississippi River deeper will begin. What's different this time is the project is a public-private partnership that has involved agriculture from the get-go. TWILA's Neil Melanson shows us how making the river deeper will be a big boost, even for people who are not close to it.
They've already through flowering, starting to set pods, peas in the pods.
Charles Canatella is going over his bean crop one last time before harvest. Harvest will soon begin across Louisiana, and while beans might start here, eventually they come here. This is the Mississippi River where most soybeans head to overseas destinations. That's why farmers like Canatella have invested in a project to dredge the Mississippi.
60% of all our soybeans come down the Mississippi River and exported out. And, it's just a lot of grain to be moved worldwide. And the cheaper you can move it out, the better, the more competitive you are, the more you're going to be able to sell.
Canatella is also a member of the United Soybean Board that funded research for the project, along with several other soybean groups. Together with partners at the Army Corps of Engineers and the Louisiana Department of Transportation, the project is ready to move forward this fall. Some dredging will be complete this year, according to Corps spokesman Ricky Boyette.
For this year, we're looking at starting this process to deepen in the fall, late fall, September, October timeframe. Fortunately, we have the money in hand to do the work in the Southwest Pass, so that's going to be our first focal area. We'll start working there this year, and then as we work and get those relocations moved upriver, we'll turn our attention to Baton Rouge.
Boyette said the project overall will cost around $120 million. However, he said the return on investment will pay for itself within 2 years and then return even more.
When we say 5 feet, we look at it from a cost-benefit ratio, and we're looking at about an annual return of $120 million a year. That's about $7 for every dollar we're going to spend to deepen it.
For farmers like Canatella, that return is dollars that will come back to the farm and rural communities at a time when those places are struggling.
The prices the last few years on corn and soybeans have been depressed. If we could have the river deepen where we can get a bigger ship in, our export, the money it costs to export it out, the freight, in other words, from New Orleans, Baton Rouge down to another country is going to be lowered.
As I mentioned, soybean harvest is still about a week or two off for most areas of Louisiana. Charles told me that it used to start later, but it seems like it's getting earlier and earlier each year. While I was out in his fields, I got a chance to ask him how the crop was looking, and he said so far he likes what he sees.
At planting time, we planted about half the crop and had a big rain, so it was slow to come on. Second half, we got it planted and weather was good, so the crop looks good. Overall, I think state's going to have a real good crop. So our crop's maybe not as good as I like to see, but it's going to turn out, I think, to be a good crop.
Charles said he's hoping for another inch or two of rain to help those pods fill out completely. And Avery, as good as that looks, that I'm sure you heard in that package, that 7-to-1 return ratio on those public and private dollars for this dredging project is just unreal. I mean, it's just an amazing aspect to this. And I mean, as we said, even if you aren't in the agriculture business or benefit directly from the river, your tax dollars are going to get returned through all that money that should be hopefully coming back to us in Louisiana.
Well, it's another way in which we see that agricultural dollars turn over and over again, especially in rural communities where farming and ranching sometimes is the only industry they have around there to support those communities.
And one of the good things is not only is the money staying in Louisiana, but the sediment as well. They're using it to help rebuild some of the coastal areas with it.
Well, that's always a plus. Thank you very much, Neil Melancon. As Neil said, soybean harvest may be a couple of weeks away, but corn harvest in Louisiana, well, that's at full speed. According to the latest crop progress report from the USDA, about 17% of the crop has been harvested. This week, TWILA's Carl Wiggers heads up to Lake St. John to see how the crop is looking in Concordia Parish.
In the Louisiana Delta, dust is flying around the combines, bringing in the 2020 corn crop. Concordia Parish farmer Thomas Ader says that he's pleased with the crop coming in so far.
I'd say all in all, it's above average. It's not anything to get super excited about, but it's been better than the last couple of seasons, so I'm not going to complain too much.
Ader says a big factor in the success has been an ideal growing season for his corn, a trend that's continued into his harvest season. Not only is the good weather important to his corn crop, but it's also crucial for his soybeans and cotton.
Let's get this out. It lets the cotton finish out. A week of nasty rain will turn beans sour in a heartbeat.
Those beans turning sour is a scenario Ader shudders to imagine. He says all of his crops are looking good, but that's the end of the good news.
It's exceeded my expectations on the year. Now, it's bad that we essentially are giving it away at today's market prices, but I mean, I guess that's the game we play, This is a survival year for a lot of us. I mean, it's not are we going to break even? It's are we going to be able to manage our losses to a point that we can do it next year? If there ever was a year that needed to be an MFP or some sort of government intervention, I mean, I can't think of a better time than a global pandemic when all the markets are in the tank.
One thing Ader and many other farmers Carl spoke with shared was the need for commodity prices to improve. Of all years, 2020 is the year farmers will need decent prices to pair with what looks like should be an above-average corn crop. The Natural Resources Conservation Service provides farmers, ranchers, and forest managers free and extremely valuable technical assistance to help manage their land. That's a service Kate and Grant Estrad put to use in Bogalusa, Louisiana on their farm, Local Cooling Farms.
Does anyone have new kids this morning?
We're here at Local Cooling Farms near Bogalusa, Louisiana. NRCS stands for the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and our mission is to help people help the land and hopefully, increase their productivity through that, help the resources and make them more sustainable for the future generations.
NRCS has, specifically like some of the grazing experts, has helped us make a plan for best utilizing our land, say. The NRCS experts in Louisiana are the ones that know our soil types and the best cover crops for the given season and the types of livestock that thrive here. So for all of those, like adapting models from this farm in Virginia that we really model ourselves off of, we can use the NRCS on like all the specifics of how we can have a really regenerative, soil regenerating, ecosystem regenerating farm that also grows healthy protein and provides great food for the community.
Yeah, NRCS is here to help. Providing direct technical assistance is our primary job. You can prepare all you want and read all you want and watch YouTube videos all day long, but until you do it yourself, you don't really know what you need to know. So a lot of times the technical assistance was, hey, this is going on, how far should I take the grass down, how long should we let it rest, what do I do in these wet conditions.
There's going to be technical information on, seeding rate, and how do I do the sacrifice area for the cattle and our climate, and how do I wrap my mind around this, for our area. And that's been a lot of the help that I've gotten over the phone and in person for sure. So it's a lot of the details specific for our region and our climate. A lot of times specifically having to do with how to deal with the rainfall.
The other thing that's really cool is how quickly grazing animals and like moving them so much, like how quickly you can see the results in the soil. And it's like this, positive reinforcement loop, because this, like the pasture part of our land was like rock hard clay pan soil, like blackberries, and just like nothing, positive that you would be like, we can graze cattle on this. And between running the goats through, because they eat so much shrubby stuff, and then doing the layers behind them, and even like some pigs on pasture because they root up so much, just all that manure, all that trampling, and then some cover crop planting. I mean, we're already seeing dung beetles and like piles of worm castings, and so for soil that was like dead, is pretty impressive.
Because it is a small operation of 16 acres, it becomes ever more important to make sure that every acre is producing something for them. Every animal has a place, every plant has a place, and they are utilizing that to their fullest potential. Any really land management that you're doing at all in RCS can assist someone with, so we are here to help.
With offices throughout the state, the primary mission of the NRCS is to help you help the land. To learn how NRCS can help you improve your land, go to our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on Twyla, we head down to the Gulf of Mexico to bring in some fresh Louisiana seafood for a brand new Field to Feast with Jennifer Finley. Stay with us.
Welcome to Field to Feast, where we profile Louisiana and its local ingredients. Today, we're going to talk Louisiana seafood and then head over to Executive Chef Tori McPhail's house to make a delicious dish of shrimp and tasso.
Field to Feast with Jennifer Finley is brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board, think rice.
So we've been invited today to offload these red snapper. Tori's going to bring some back to the restaurant for dinner. Tori, talk to me about what we are looking at, what's going on here today.
So this to me is 100% fascinating. So these guys have gone out fishing for red snapper, right? It was a day trip. These guys are bringing back somewhere more than 1,000 pounds of fresh fish today.
In one day.
In one day, which is a pretty darn good day. And so they've got everything iced. And right now, the deck hands, they're putting everything into these orange baskets, as you can see. They'll get everything up and on the scale and off to the markets, which I'm excited to get some of that stuff on the Commander's Palace menu.
Because you're part of those markets. These are the direct sales to the restaurants.
Yeah, exactly right. So these guys would sell to my buddies Cliff Hall and the boys at New Orleans Fish House, and we use them primarily to supply amazing fresh seafood right to our doors.
How important is it for us to be using fresh, local ingredients?
Well, this is why people come to restaurants. This is why people come to New Orleans. This is why Louisiana food is so famous. You've got to have an organic connection to the families that go out and supply all the best menus, all the best people, all the best chefs in the city. So this is vital to what we do every single day.
So we've talked a lot about, this pandemic lately, a lot of tough stuff going on. Can you kind of give me an update about the New Orleans restaurant scene and Commanders in particular?
Yeah, well, I think folks in Louisiana, people on the Gulf Coast, but in New Orleans in particular, we've gone through Katrina. We're a very resilient bunch, and we're going to get through this. But right now, it's difficult. 1 week to the next, we never know exactly what we're going to deal with. But coming down here just reaffirms that we've got to get back to doing what we love to do and get tourism going again. We've got to take care of the locals. We've got to take care of all those visitors who want to come in and have a true Louisiana experience. And you can't do that if you're serving California fish or fish that comes out of the freezer or stuff, off the Atlantic. So you got to get down here to the basics, shake the hands of the guys that are going out fishing, for that true Louisiana experience.
It is. It's the cycle of life around here with
Yeah.
Louisiana. So if it's not selling at the restaurants, then they're not able to go out and get it, and
Yeah.
it's really affecting all of us.
Yeah, for a chef and a restaurateur, we have a responsibility to tell their story, to really understand, through generations, what it has meant to their family to be a fisherman, a professional fisherman, be really, really good at what they do. And so for me, it is absolutely vital that I come down here, meet the gang, and understand what it takes and their hard work to bring that fish to market.
We're here because they're offloading some
Yeah.
red snapper today, but
Yeah.
one of my very favorite ingredients in
Yeah.
Louisiana is shrimp.
Love it. Right, fresh Louisiana wild white shrimp is one of my favorite foods, and the dish that I love is a dish called shrimp and Tasso.
Me too.
Right, it came to me years and years ago by our dear friend Jamie Shannon. But I just love those flavors, the sweet brininess of the shrimp and that salty, spicy smokiness that you get from the Tasso. Pair that together, man, there's no better way to start a great meal.
Well, I think it sounds like we should go make some of that.
All right, let's go check it out.
Let's do it. We're in New Orleans at Chef Tori McPhail's house. So what are we going to be cooking today, Chef?
We're gonna do a dish based on one of my favorite dishes of all time, New Orleans shrimp and Tasso. All right, we're gonna work that up in a beautiful, nice island creation and showcase those great Louisiana flavors done in a different style.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's get after it. All right, so the rice is working, so let's talk about shrimp.
Okay.
These are wild-caught Louisiana white shrimp. So these look pretty darn clean. You can peel the backs if you want to, but these look fantastic. So we're just gonna go right through the main part and then through the shell. And when you go to turn it in the saute pan, it turns and it doesn't just like slip. I'm gonna add some Creole to the top of each one of those.
And so just like a sprinkling?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So just like you do a steak and kind of get that ready for the grill, shrimp are pretty small. And so just want to do a little lighter than you typically would with like a burger.
Season both sides because you eat both sides?
Yeah, but we're gonna kind of go to the islands today. So we're gonna finish this with just a little bit of curry powder. So we have our saute pan here. This is kind of over like about medium heat. So let's grab a little olive oil if you like. I'm gonna turn this guy on. Get some of this going. Okay, so at this point, we're just gonna lay these guys in if you wanna help me.
I do.
Yeah. Good. Okay.
How'd I do, Chef?
That is perfect, right? We have one little shake and then we're not gonna touch it, okay? And so we're just gonna let these go for about 90 seconds or about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Until we develop a really good kind of a crust on one side. Ready to flip them? Yeah. Actually, you can flip them.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, the more I do, the less fearful I am. I mean, cooking
Yeah.
needs to be fun, which is why we have rosé while we cook.
That's exactly it.
But, I mean, this really doesn't take all that much time, and the payoff is ginormous.
These are gonna be fantastic for sure. So we're just gonna let these go for about another 30 seconds. We'll take them out of the pan. So our shrimp are seared, our rice is ready, and we're gonna finish the dish. But we're gonna finish it with this beautiful little sauce we have over here. So
All right, Chef, so this is your sauce. This
Yeah.
is sauce that you have made. Coconut, key lime, and curry.
it just screams islands.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're gonna add
How much?
a couple ounces of that in. We'll do a little more.
Where can I
Yeah.
get this?
So you can go to any of the Rouse stores. They should have it around the state.
Oh, my word.
So we're just gonna put these in. And we're just gonna gently swirl that together. And as it starts to come up to a simmer, we're gonna finish cooking our shrimp, but it's gonna add this beautiful glaze, this little shine to the outside of it. And you can use the tongs. We're just gonna flip
Yes.
those over.
Oh, my goodness.
And we're over kind of like low heat at this point.
Look how pretty.
It's just a gorgeous sauce. We do all the hard work ahead of time.
Yes. Where are you? I mean, when did this start? Where are you doing this sauce?
You know, I got with the Rouse's family, Donnie Rouse and the team. They've always just been so kind to me. And they said, Tori, look, man, if we could have a partner and kind of do something, then let's go for that. And so now we have these available in a bunch of the Rouse's stores, or you can check it out on the website.
Well, I know a guy, so maybe I can get some to take it home with me.
Of course. Give that a shake.
I'm good at that.
And let's finish the dish.
Okay, let's
sound
finish
good?
it up.
And we'll grab the plate. We'll put probably a third of that right in the middle. And then we grab your tongs. Good.
Right?
Yeah. And we'll do.
I'm gonna take the middle guy.
Perfect. You gotta have some pickled okra. You can add a couple of those if you like.
Okay, little radishes. Look at this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, We plated it together. I'm very excited and proud of how this looks.
You can do that.
Everybody can do this.
I mean, good Louisiana rice, wild shrimp right here from Louisiana, right out of the Gulf of Mexico. Tasso, pickled okra, a little bit of hot sauce, a little bit of pepper jelly. It's just good eating.
And we'll see you next time on Field to Feast.
Field to Feast with Jennifer Finley was brought to you by the Louisiana Crawfish Promotion and Research Board, Louisiana Crawfish, ask before you eat, and by the Louisiana Beef Industry Council, beef, it's what's for dinner, and by the Louisiana Rice Promotion Board, think rice.
This week, we're closing our show, as always, with a Twyla Boost to hopefully lift your spirits and make you smile a little bit. This week's boost is one you may have already heard about, but it's too good for us not to share. During the height of New York's coronavirus pandemic, a retired farmer in Kansas sent a letter and one N95 mask to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. His donation, while small in his eyes, garnered a large amount of praise and a few other unexpected rewards.
Nearly half of the many letters I received said that they were moved to tears when Governor Cuomo read my letter aloud. My life is forever changed.
Enclosed, find a solitary N95 mask left over from my farming days. It has never been used. If you could, would you please give this mask to a nurse or doctor in your state? I have kept 4 masks for my immediate family. Please keep on doing what you do so well, which is to lead. Sincerely, Dennis and Sharon. A farmer in northeast Kansas. His wife has 1 lung and diabetes. He has 5 masks. He sends 1 mask to New York for a doctor or a nurse, keeps 4 masks. You want to talk about a snapshot of humanity. You have 5 masks. What do? Do you keep all 5? Do you hide the 5 masks? Do you keep them for yourselves or others? No. You send 1 mask to New York to help a nurse or a doctor. How beautiful is that? I mean, how selfless is that? How giving is that?
I've waited half a century to receive my college degree and had pretty much written off any chance of getting it. It would not have happened had I not mailed in that 1 N95 mask to Governor Cuomo for a first responder in March.
Governor Cuomo was right. This selfless act of kindness truly shows the best example of humanity. We could use a lot more people like Mr. Runke. Well, that does it for this edition of Twyla. Be sure to join us next time when we'll honor all of the most recent inductees into the Louisiana Agriculture Hall of Distinction. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you turn those notifications on. For all of us here at Twyla, thank you for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.